Iowa, two Republicans offering master classes in misogyny. Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida insinuating pro-choice advocates too unattractive to ever worry about needing an abortion. As a GOP candidate running for lieutenant governor of Minnesota warns abortions lead to women having careers and questioning if women should have the right to drive. His Democratic opponent, the current lieutenant governor of Minnesota, our first guest. Plus, the House can pass bills to protect same-sex marriage all day long without a willing Senate and a Supreme Court stacked to the right. What will it take to protect marriage equality? The ACLU's Chase Strangio is here with answers. And the Attorney General facing immense pressure to act on the droves of evidence dug up by the 1-6 committee, hinting at criminal acts by the former president and his posse. Merrick Garland says no one, including Trump, is above the law. Well, is he about to prove it? This is American Voices.
So women shouldn't drive.
We begin this hour with the misogynistic politics of the Republican Party. While sexism is nothing new in American politics, the lasting effect of Trumpism continues to fuel absurd attacks against women. This weekend, a conference for young conservatives, Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz called abortion rights protesters disgusting and unattractive and said, quote, nobody wants to impregnate them. Now, it is not surprising that Gaetz said this. He has said something like this before. He will likely do it again. And while I generally don't like to reward the congressman from Florida with the attention he clearly so desperately craves, what was striking to me was the cheers from a crowd that purports to be the youthful future of the GOP. This behavior, a move right out of the Trump playbook, when he called women nasty and slobs. Republican lawmakers have learned they can not only get away with this behavior, they can be lauded for it. In a newly released video from June, Matt Burke, a Republican candidate for lieutenant governor of Minnesota, said reproductive right advocates are simply playing, quote, the rape card.
Probably saw 20 times. 20 incident probably saw 20 times online today was about rape. And, obviously, I just want to go to the rape card. Rape is obviously a horrible thing. But an abortion is not gonna heal the wounds of that. And the two laws is not gonna make it right. Our culture loudly but also stealthily promotes abortion. Telling women they should look a certain way, they should have careers, all these things.
Not only did Burke attack women, wanting to have a career, he even joked women should not be allowed to drive. Joining me now, Burke's Democratic opponent, Minnesota's Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan. Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, this isn't just rhetoric, right?
Should not
Republicans are actively funneling this misogyny into legislation, into judicial change.
Drive.
What is your message to those who say, well, these comments are just a joke?
Well, I don't think it's very funny, and I think that there are women across the country who don't think it's funny, because these jokes, right, are actually their policy proposals in practice. Let me be really clear that when a woman decides to have a career, much like her decision as to when and if to start a family or to have a child, is none of the Republican Party's business. I cannot believe that in 2022, this is the conversation that we're having. And as the mom of a 9-year-old girl, I am horrified. It's completely unacceptable.
Especially Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, because we are living through an economic reality where most households need both parents, if there are two parents, to be able to work just to make ends meet, right? These Republicans, they keep pushing the envelope at rallies. They're rewarded by cheering crowds. What does that tell you? Does it tell you we have a deeper problem than just a failure of leadership? This is not just members of Congress and people running for political office.
I mean, what it tells me is that these Republicans are disconnected from the lives of real people. Here in Minnesota, 51% of our workforce is made up of women. So if women don't participate in the economy, our economy completely falls apart. And let me tell you, I'm the lieutenant governor, and I'm also a mom, and there are lots of women who are able to have a career and successfully care for and raise their families at the same time. So you don't have to be 100% pro-choice to understand that this rhetoric around simply questioning whether or not women should have careers or really be fully functioning members of society, this is something that we should all be deeply worried about, because it again is just erasing women from this conversation completely.
Now, Lieutenant Governor, we've talked about the rhetoric, and as I think you and I both agree, where this becomes especially dangerous is the way this plays out in policy. So you have new reporting from the Associated Press this weekend featuring northern Minnesota's only abortion clinic, which, as I'm sure you know, is bracing for more out-of-state patients. It reads, quote, "Today, the clinic's employees are acutely aware of their state status as an island of legal abortion in the upper Midwest. Abortion is now illegal or treated as such in Wisconsin and South Dakota. North Dakota is expected to follow suit in late July, and Iowa's Republican governor is asking the state courts to severely limit the procedure." I wonder, from where you sit, how you envision Minnesota's role in this post-Roe landscape, what it is going to mean for healthcare providers for Minnesotans.
So Governor Walz and I are staunch supporters of the right to choose. And we will continue to ensure that we protect access to abortion in this state for Minnesotans and for anyone who comes here. I'll tell you that as Minnesotans, we believe that we must be good neighbors. So if that means, that we shovel your driveway when it snows, or we bring you a hot dish when you move into the neighborhood, we're also going to make sure that you have access to abortion. We know that we are an island in the Midwest. We will continue to be. Those providers, we recently had a conversation with providers across the state who have told us that they are seeing a 25 to 30% increase in patients who are seeking abortion care. So we will do everything in our power to continue to ensure that people have access to abortion. And Alicia, if your viewers are interested, if they want to help us out, they can go to wallsflanagan.org to help ensure that abortion remains protected here in Minnesota for ourselves, but also for our neighbors here in the Midwest.
When you talk about doing everything in your power to make sure that it continues to be protected, can you give us a sense of what that means for you as Lieutenant Governor?
Sure. So it means, first of all, that we are one election away from losing access to abortion in the state. So our plan is to win so we can continue to protect it. But also the governor has introduced an executive order that will protect people who come to Minnesota to access abortion care. And we also want to ensure that providers who provide that care as well will be protected. Those are some of the things that we can do, but we really know that there is a stark choice between Scott Jensen and Matt Burke and Governor Walz and myself when it comes to this issue. They want to ensure that they are outlining abortion even in cases of rape or incest. That's disconnected from the majority of Americans, and I think that we've heard, their rhetoric is actually matching their policy.
Minnesota Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, thank you so much. Next, the Attorney General has a lot to think about.